Hello everybody, welcome back to Muck and Gariana Free. I hope you had a great Christmas. It's Sunday. So that means a new video. Yeah. In today's video, you can tell from the title, we're going to be ranking the small groups of regionals, nationals and internationals, because when I did my ranking of like the big group numbers, so like the whole of A troop, it was one of the things that was mainly requested, as well as like the duets and the solos that were competed. So we're going to be doing small groups today, and then if you guys want, I'll maybe do duets, but I don't think there's that many. I think there's only like 2. So I hope you enjoy this video, and let's get straight into it. So at the bottom of my list, I have the Regionals Qualifier Trio, and I'm including the qualifiers because they were competitive routines for regionals. So the Regionals Qualifier Trio was Noah, Rochelle and Piper, and they did it to The Clock is Ticking. And the reason I've put it last is because it was a bit of a mess. Noah was injured, so the choreography was all messed up, and yeah, for obvious reasons, it's at the bottom. In terms of the choreography though, where like taking Noah's injury out of the equation, I feel like sometimes it looked like there was 3 solos going on stage, or a duet and 1 solo. It didn't very much look like a trio of people. There wasn't a lot of, say, unison sections. Like, I don't think they had a single unison section. It was more like in canon, they all did the same move rather than it be in unison. I also think they could have done with staying a bit closer together, because it often seemed like there'd be a duet close together and then someone would go off. The choreography that they did do though was great. Like, I like the lifts that Noah and Rochelle did, and I think Piper had a lift with Noah as well. But I think generally they were too far backwards and too far away from the audience. I would have brought the dance a lot further forward, especially because there's only 3 of them on stage. Obviously it's a big space to fill, so that would be my critiques. Next on the list is a season 4 small group, which they competed at regionals, and that was called Famous. It had Noah, LaTroy, Henry, Skylar and Piper. The first thing I want to say is that I really didn't like Noah's costume, and I think in general the costuming wasn't great. It felt like it was a street themed dance, because obviously they did hip hop, so it felt fitting. But I didn't like the fact that Noah was wearing like a jumper and jeans. And I'm pretty sure it's the same jumper that he wore in earlier episodes when he was just like chilling. Like, his streetwear outfit shouldn't be the same as what his regionals outfit is. Like, I just think that wasn't right. I liked that it was mixed gender, so it wasn't just the typical hip hop we've seen in the previous seasons where, you know, it's just the boys that do it. I liked that the girls were involved as well. And I also liked that there was a sassier element of hip hop to it. Once again, I felt like this dance was a little bit fragmented, so it did seem a lot of the time like there was just a duet going on stage and everyone else would go off, or there'd be a solo happening or a trio. It wasn't like, there was some unison parts and they were really, really good. That's why it's higher than the other 2 dances that are below it. But it just felt like it wasn't a united group. Like, for example, I don't think Piper and LaTroy have had a conversation. And you could kind of tell because they didn't have much chemistry on stage. I just think it kind of needed bonding. I don't know. I did like the dance. I just felt like it needed something more, and it's not as good in comparison to the ones that I've put above it, in my opinion. So one above Famous, I've put Elevator, and that was a trio between Amanda, Michelle and Amy. I really love this song. I thought the choreography was beautiful and it really linked with the lyrics as well. But I will say some parts look quite messy. Like, the standout thing for me was when Amy climbed onto Amanda and Michelle. I just felt like it looked a bit naff in comparison to the choreography they were doing. Like, they were doing illusions and really quite difficult stuff, and that was kind of a bit amateur to me, so I would have taken it out before it went on stage. And like I said, for the Regionals Qualifier Trio between Noah, Piper and Rochelle, I also feel like this dance was a little bit too far backwards on the stage. It could have been brought forward a bit more and had them... No, actually, they were dancing quite close together. It just needed to be brought forwards a little bit more, because obviously the stage was so huge, they kind of got lost at the back, and that kind of lost my interest as a result. So above Elevator is Hotel, and I've put Hotel higher than the ones that are below it because obviously it has the difficulty of being blindfolded, but I don't think in terms of the choreography it was as good as the ones that are above it. But that is purely because I know that they simplified a lot of the moves to fit the fact that they couldn't see on stage. So it needed to be a little bit more easy and have less of a group aspect, because obviously they can't keep in time with each other if they can't see each other. So it's a lot easier for them to have solos going on and have Noah be the one to unite them, rather than all the girls having to depend on using their senses to know when each other were dancing. I loved how sharp the beginning was. The beginning was probably my favourite part, to be honest. And they also filled the space really, really well. So there was only 5 of them on the stage, but they used it to their advantage, and that my interest kind of didn't get lost because they filled it out and they weren't too far backwards either. Like I said, I understand that the choreography wasn't as hard as it could have been, because obviously they had the difficulty aspect of it being blindfolded and they just needed it to look clean rather than it be the most spectacular routine ever. Obviously Noah's tricks that he was doing were amazing considering he was blindfolded. But generally I love the dance, I love the ending. So the ending and the beginning were the strongest bits, and then the middle bit was quite weak for me. Next is Shining Lights, and I know that a lot of people love this dance, so I'm sorry if that offends anybody, but hopefully you'll see why when I give my explanation. So the dance is really intense, and I love that it really fit the song. I think I liked the routine because it was different to the kind of hip hop style we've seen previous to season 3. So it was more of a fusion between contemporary and hip hop and acro. It had a lot of new lifts in it, like the one that Riley and Max did, and also Giselle got to do her back handsprings, and there was a big hip hop section, and we'd never really seen Riley do hard hitting hip hop, or even Giselle for that matter. So yeah, it was something new and fresh, and I really liked it. The only thing that I really didn't like was that sometimes it felt quite disjointed. So some of the moves weren't 100%. There was just something I didn't enjoy about the unison. I don't think it was given 100% energy. I feel like they could have been given a bit more. And the bits where they split off into kind of doing solo parts, that felt a little bit like they just needed to fill the space between the unison sections they had set. I can't remember if that was the point, because obviously they had to change the song. But yeah, I'm judging it as a whole. I did really like the ending though, the bit where they were doing the, what are they called? They're not isolations. Sharp movements. When they were doing the sharp movements, I really liked that. Next we have Now You've Got the Best from season 6, and I really liked how sassy it was once again, and I liked that it was mixed genders, because I like to see the girls doing hip hop because we don't see it that often. What I really want for season 7 is to have a really, really good hip hop dancer that is like as good as, say, West. So I would like to see a hip hop dancer that's quite versatile, can do flips and as much stuff as the hip hop boys can do, because I think we would need to switch it up a little bit. The thing about this dance which put it higher than the ones that are below it, because even though it had little solo sections and duets and trios, like when the girls did something separate from the boys, it still looked very joined together. It didn't look like they just needed to fill some time. It didn't look disjointed at all, in my opinion. I thought it looked very good and it fitted. I thought that in particular after the boys section, it was very hard hitting, and they nicely blended back into the group. It wasn't just say run and then get to your place. It seemed seamless and it looked well rehearsed. There was great facials, and I loved the tutting section in particular because we haven't seen much tutting on the show. But the reason I haven't rated it any higher is because I felt like the girls section was definitely more jazz funk than, say, hip hop. So that could have been a lot harder and more technical in my opinion. But I like the stage presence and I thought they did it well. So yeah. In second place is the dance that I personally probably love the most. Like, I love the song and I just really love the dance. Like, it's probably one of my favourites from the show as a whole, and that is Alive from season 6. It was a small group routine and it had Kingston, Summer, Noah, Piper and Ozzy. The dance was all about being addicted to phones and social media and stuff like that, which was obviously a great message because the show is aimed at teenagers, so it fits quite well. But also what I really loved was just, it was edgy contemporary. It wasn't just like your standard lyrical stuff. And as a more, I'm not going to say I'm edgy, that's not cool at all. But I prefer to dance edgier contemporary, so a bit faster with more tricks and stuff like that, compared to, say, your standard like Dance Moms contemporary, should we say that? I felt like there's a lot of chemistry between the group as well, which was notable on screen and on stage. Like I said for season 4, you could kind of tell there wasn't much chemistry between the 5 of them. Whereas in this dance, I thought there really was. Like, you could tell they had a relationship and it was good. The only thing, though, that stops it from getting to first place, in my opinion, is because I can't put it in first, is the fact that Piper didn't get her aerial and she didn't play it off at all. Like, she got up, she had this panicked look on her face. She didn't do the rest of the choreography very well. She was shaken by it, so it can't be in first because it wasn't a perfect routine. I love the characterization, the energy, the emotion, and I liked how the duet that was in it and the little tiny like break-off parts weren't completely far away from the main group, and it wasn't like they needed something to shove in there. It nicely contrasted or complemented what was going on. So everything worked, basically, in my opinion, in that dance. So yeah, this dance is my personal favourite. It's my personal favourite song as well from the next step, I think. Maybe even better than Tell the Story, and I do love Tell the Story. So yeah, Alive is in second. So in first place is Never Get Lost from season 2, which was Eldon, Hunter, West and James's hip hop routine. And basically, I don't personally love this routine, probably because I'm just not a hip hop dancer. Like, I'm not a hip hop dancer, I'm not a big hip hop fan, so it's not my personal favourite. But I can't fault the fact that it's probably technically perfect. It has great stage presence, great characterization, great chemistry between the 4 of them. They all did cool tricks, they all gave great facials, the costuming was great, they used the space well, the music was great, and just overall, I can't fault it much. It was really hard hitting, it was sharp, it was dynamic, and you can tell that all 4 of the boys were comfortable with the dance. Like, obviously James had that moment where he didn't want to do his B-twist, but the B-twist wasn't even originally in it. It was just a suggestion that he might do it. So yeah, it just seemed very well rehearsed, very confident, and overall, yeah, can't fault it much. And if I compare it directly to the other hip-hop group dance, so Famous in season 4, I think the thing that it has on that is that they moved as a group. So even when, say, West was doing his little solo bit, the boys complemented it, and it didn't look like West was doing a standout moment. It just looked like a group dance. It didn't look like fragmented or anything like that. So yes, I can't fault that dance whatsoever. So it's in first place. So I hope you enjoyed this video of me ranking the small group routines. If you disagree with any of my placings, that is absolutely fine. I always say that. You can leave below what your placings would be, or what you agree with, what you disagree with. But please remember, this is my opinion, so you can't say I'm wrong, because I'm not going to say you're wrong. It's just an opinion, and we're all allowed to have an opinion, and people ask for my opinion, so that is what I'm giving. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe if you're new, and if I keep popping up in your recommended, then you might as well subscribe. And also comment down below, like I said, turn notifications on so that you know when I upload, because sometimes YouTube doesn't tell people. And yes, that's all. So I'll see you next week, guys, for a new video. Bye!